The fleet hovered at the edge of the map. Beyond this point the stars were still there, bright and familiar, but in every chart the space ahead was marked in a thick red band, untraveled. Do not enter. Captain Relis Veyer stood at the center of his flagship's bridge, hands clasped behind his back. He studied the faint glow of the navigation holomap, as if sheer focus could strip away centuries of superstition. Around him, his officers whispered, their words meant for one another but carrying easily in the tense silence. No ship returns, someone murmured. They say entire armadas have gone dark. Not even wreckage, not a distress call. Relis's ears caught every syllable. Fears spread quickly through crews, faster than radiation, faster than plague. He let the whispers hang a moment longer, then spoke. Enough. His voice carried without shouting. Every officer turned. We charted the abyssal rift. We crossed the storm fields at Krelos. We came back when others vanished. This is no different. First Officer Toller shifted uneasily at his station. Captain, the records. Legends. Relis cut him off. Stories retold so many times no one remembers what was real. This is Concord space now. The humans may be stubborn, but physics does not obey myth. Weapons Officer HFY bared his fangs in something between a grin and a sneer. A primitive species guarding empty void. Our sensors will map it, our fleet will stand intact, and the Council will hang your name in the archives, Captain. Relis allowed himself the smallest smile. That is the plan. He turned toward the forward viewport. Outside, 40 warships held formation, their hulls gleaming in the pale light of nearby stars. They were armed with enough firepower to glass planets, their sensors tuned to catch a single mote of dust. Nothing in this void could threaten them, so said every engineer, every strategist, every model. Yet his stomach nodded. Navigator, Relis said, mark the boundary. Advance the fleet. The order echoed across channels. Engines burned, and the ships slid forward into the darkness of human space. Hours passed. At first, nothing. Stars wheeled behind them in predictable arcs. Gravimetric readings were stable. Life support hummed. The crew's tension seemed to ease. But then came the drift. Captain! Navigator Serene called, her hands darting across glowing panels. Our course markers are off by 3 degrees. Correct them. I have. Twice. The system insists we've shifted again. Calibration error? Relis asked. Not unless every instrument across the fleet is misaligned simultaneously, she said, voice tight. Relis frowned. Log it. Continue. Minutes later, comms burst with static, sharp, almost like a whisper. HFY snapped toward his console. Interference? Relis asked. Not from our systems, HFY replied. It sounded almost. He stopped, shaking his head. Background noise. I'll filter it. Whispers, thought Relis. Always whispers. He walked slowly around the bridge, observing his officers. Toller's hands twitched over his station. Serene's face paled, her crest lying flat. Even HFY's bravado had dimmed. Discipline was holding, but only barely. He paused by the viewport. Out there, human space stretched endlessly, deceptively empty. The silence pressed against the hull, heavy, unnatural. A warning chime split the air. Captain! Serene shouted. Scout vessel Varnes, its transponder just cut out! Relis spun toward her. Cause? No explosion. No energy surge. It was their one moment, gone the next. Check sensor blind zones. Cross-reference fleet telemetry. Her hands flew across controls. Nothing. Not debris, not a signal echo. It's as if the ship never existed. The bridge filled with sharp voices. They've been taken. Humans have cloaking fleets. Nonsense. Sensors don't lie. Relis slammed his hand down on the railing. Silence. The officers fell quiet, though fear still radiated from them. We do not invent ghosts because one scout lost power, he said evenly. Sensors glitch. Ships suffer failure. We move forward. Toller spoke carefully. Captain, 40 vessels entered. Now 39 remain. If this continues... Reles cut him off with a glare. We hold discipline. Fear will kill us faster than any phantom. He turned toward the viewport again. The stars stared back, cold and indifferent. He forced his voice calm. Signal the fleet. Titan formation. No ship moves without direct command. Engines at half, sensors at maximum sweep. Orders transmitted. The fleet shifted closer, hulls gleaming in disciplined lines. The whispers faded. For a moment the bridge steadied, officers returning to their tasks. But Reles knew the silence was fragile, a thin shell stretched over growing dread. He walked back to his command chair and sat clasping his hands. In his log he spoke softly, words for no one but history. Day 1 in human space. The fleet has crossed the threshold. 1 vessel lost without explanation. I told them it was error, but I saw it vanish. Gods help me, I saw it vanish. He closed the log, leaned back, and stared into the void. And the void, vast and waiting, stared back. The bridge of the Varian had grown quieter with every passing hour. The fleet crawled deeper into human territory, and though the stars ahead shone as brightly as anywhere else, a pressure hung over the crew that no one could name. 39 ships now. Captain Reles Veyer kept count without looking at his displays. The absence of the scout Varnies lingered like a wound. He had demanded explanations, sensor logs, technical reviews, probability models. Every report returned the same conclusion: nothing. The Varnies had simply ceased to exist. He would not allow panic. But discipline frayed in silence. Captain, Toller said quietly, his eyes locked on fleet telemetry. We should consider a controlled withdrawal until the situation clarifies. Reles didn't turn. You suggest we retreat because of a single loss? With respect, sir, ships don't vanish without cause. They do when fear blinds the crew. Reles snapped. We press on. The Council ordered this incursion. We will deliver results. A warning ping cut through the air. Serene's voice trembled. Captain, ship Orlith has dropped off scans. Same pattern as before. No explosion. No debris. Gone. Carwyle swore under his breath. 2 gone now. This isn't equipment failure. Reles's jaw clenched. Log the incident. Close formation further. No vessel more than 10,000 units apart. Shields raised. The orders rolled through the comms. Outside the viewport, warships pulled tighter, steel glinting as they realigned. A fortress in motion. It did not help. Only minutes later, a cry erupted from another console. Sereth is gone! This time, the ship had been flying less than 100 meters off the Varian's flank. One instant it was there, lights glowing, shields bright. The next, it blinked out like a candle in wind. The bridge went silent. Serene whispered, almost too low to hear. They're taking us one by one. Enough, Reles said. He forced his voice to stay even. We have no evidence of hostile contact. No evidence? Carwyle turned, his crest bristling. Ships are vanishing in formation. What more do you need? Reles met his gaze. Proof. Until then, we stay the course. Before the argument could flare further, every console lit at once. A signal pulsed across all channels, broadband, encoded in perfect galactic standard. A single word. Leave. The bridge froze. Officers stared at the screen as if the letters themselves carried weight. The sound replayed in their minds, a voice stripped of accent, neither male nor female. Calm. Unmistakable. Carwyle broke the silence first. How do they know our language? Toller's throat worked. Not just that, why one word? Why only that? Reles forced his breathing steady. Intimidation. Nothing more. They want us to think they're everywhere, listening. Serene's hands shook as she muted the comms. Then they succeeded. Reles stepped into the center of the bridge. Listen to me. They've sent one word to test our resolve. If we retreat now, every coward's tale will be confirmed. If we hold position, we prove them wrong. Fear is the only weapon they wield. No one answered, but discipline pulled them back to their posts. The fleet crawled onward. Yet the silence was heavier now, broken only by the hiss of life support and the occasional, nervous rustle of a uniform. The whisper of "leave" seemed etched into every console, every display. Hours later, another ship vanished. Then another. Always silently, without trace. By the time the count reached 32, mutterings filled the corridors. Crews reported phantom readings, shadows of ships that flickered across sensors and disappeared. Others swore they heard footsteps echoing in empty decks. Relas knew it wasn't madness. It was erosion, fear stripping discipline grain by grain. Then came the detection. "Captain?" Serene shouted, her voice sharp, alive with shock. "Contact! Bearing 249 closing." Every officer turned. On the tactical display, a single vessel appeared, no flicker, no distortion. Real, solid, undeniable. "Visual," Relas ordered. The viewport shifted. Out of the dark emerged a ship unlike any in the Concord registry. It was angular, harsh lines overlapping in a way that looked almost crude. Armor plates bore scars of past battles. No polished elegance, no graceful arcs of design, just function hammered into steel. The human ship advanced at steady speed, lights glowing faintly along its spine. Kryl's hand hovered over his weapons console. "Orders, Captain?" "Hold." The human vessel stopped just short of weapons range. It lingered, silent, as if studying them. Then, with deliberate calm, it transmitted again. A face appeared on the bridge display. Relas found himself staring at a creature remarkably plain, soft skin, dark eyes, a uniform without insignia. No adornments, no theatrics. The human spoke with the same calm tone as the earlier broadcast. "You were warned." The words carried no anger. No triumph. Just certainty. Relas straightened. "We come in peace. We seek only to chart this region and return." The human's gaze didn't waver. "No one enters. No one returns." The line cut. Weapons alarms blared as the human ship powered systems. Energy readings spiked, weapons banks flared, but no shot was fired. The vessel held position, waiting. Relas's crew erupted into overlapping voices. "They'll destroy us! Open fire now! Retreat before it's too late!" Relas raised his hand for silence, though his own pulse hammered in his throat. "Hold fire! We watch!" The human ship sat motionless, weapons primed. Then, without warning, 3 more Concord vessels blinked off the grid. Gone, without so much as a flare of light. The bridge fell into chaos. Officers leapt from stations, shouting. Kryl slammed his fist against his console. "They're dismantling us! Piece by piece!" Relas stood frozen, eyes locked on the still image of the human ship outside. It hadn't moved. It hadn't fired. Yet his fleet was dying around him. He felt a cold realization settle in his chest. They were not fighting an enemy in the conventional sense. They were being played, dismantled at leisure. The human ship wasn't an attacker. It was the herald of something larger, unseen. He forced his voice steady, though the words tasted like ash. "Titan formation. Ready weapons." But even as he spoke, a deeper truth gnawed inside him. The humans weren't testing their defenses. They were proving a point. And he was beginning to understand it. By the time the sunless void of human space had swallowed nearly half the fleet, the Varian carried the weight of inevitability. Captain Relas paced the bridge, boots echoing against the steel floor. 32 ships had entered. 20 remained. And all around them, the emptiness throbbed with something unseen. Toller's voice broke the silence. "Captain, we cannot continue. Discipline is failing. Men are muttering, whispering of ghosts and vanished vessels. Even the engineers." Relas held up a hand. "Discipline must hold. Fear cannot dictate action. If we retreat now, we will be remembered not as explorers, but as cowards." Carwyle slammed his fist onto the console. We've already lost half our fleet. They're dismantling us ship by ship. And that thing outside. He spat the word. It waits calm, calculating. We will all vanish. Reles turned to him, eyes hard. And yet, if we stand, we might survive. Better to act with precision than panic. Serene adjusted the sensor array, her hands trembling. Captain, I've tracked their energy outputs. There are no visible projectiles, no lasers, nothing conventional. Yet ships disappear within seconds, from full shield strength. I don't understand it. Reles nodded, quietly impressed. Neither do I. That does not change the order. We proceed. The human ship remained at a deliberate distance, engines barely glowing. Its silhouette etched itself across the viewport, scarred, angular, silent. Not once had it fired, yet every officer aboard the Varian understood the unspoken threat. This was not a duel. It was a reckoning. Open a comm channel, Reles said. Tell them we mean no harm and ask, why? The channel flickered. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then the human captain appeared, calm, eyes dark and unreadable. His voice carried neither malice nor excitement. Because you should fear what waits behind us, he said quietly. The bridge went cold. The statement was neither threat nor promise, it was a quiet, absolute fact. Explain yourself, Reles demanded, voice taut. We are explorers sent by the Concord. We have no quarrel with your people. The human captain's lips curved slightly. No quarrel? You crossed the border. You entered space we have defended for centuries. No one comes here, and none return. Reles's jaw tightened. He realized then that every vanished ship, every whispered warning, every unexplained disappearance was intentional, not error, not accident. It was a demonstration. Carwyle leaned close. We can't fight them, Captain. Conventional tactics are useless. We'll lose every vessel if we continue. Reles took a deep breath. Then we must fight differently. We adapt. We survive. He issued orders with measured precision, shield adjustments, fleet formation shifts, engines to half-burn for minimal signature, sensor sweep maximum. They moved cautiously, but every maneuver felt like stepping on a knife's edge. The human vessel matched them effortlessly, no evasions, no feints. Just quiet, absolute observation. The calm of it unnerved every officer. Hours dragged on. Ships vanished. Some attempted minor skirmishes, short-range bursts, shield tests, but the human ship responded only indirectly. Ships that engaged even partially were gone within moments. By sunset of their cycle, only the Varian and 7 others remained. Tauler approached, voice low. Captain, we must retreat. Every instinct, every analysis, warns us. We cannot win. We will be annihilated. Reles clenched his fists. And if we flee? Our names, our fleets, our honor, erased from history. I will not return to the Council empty-handed. We fight until there is no other choice. Stand ready. Sensors, shields, weapons, everything. At that moment, the human captain spoke again, quieter than before, almost a whisper. Now you return. And you tell them, no ship returns from human space. Reles froze, words catching in his throat. The calm certainty in the human's voice was a weight pressing down on every thought, every instinct. It was not a threat, it was a verdict. Return? Carwyle breathed. You mean they spare us? The captain did not answer. Instead, the human ship powered its engines, emitting a faint pulse of energy across the void, an invisible push, herding the Varian like a shepherd guides sheep. Reles realized the truth. They had survived not by courage or firepower, but by being the last to witness the lesson. Humanity's power was subtle, terrifying in restraint, and absolute in strategy. He turned to his bridge crew. Prepare for immediate withdrawal. We follow their guidance. Sensors open, engines steady, shields ready. No ship left behind. Serene's hands shook, adjusting course markers. I can't believe this. All those ships gone. Just gone. They were never meant to test us directly, Relas said. This was a lesson. One we must carry to the Council. They slipped through the void, engines whispering across the dark. Behind them, human space returned to its stillness. Nothing pursued. Nothing warned again. Only the memory of what had been witnessed lingered. In the quiet of the bridge, officers muttered, recovering from near madness. KRYL's usual brashness was gone, replaced by hollow awe. Toller's hands rested on consoles as if steadying himself against the impossible. Relas moved to his command chair and activated the log. Final entry, he whispered, voice taut with disbelief and respect. All previous accounts of human space underestimate the unknown. Ships that enter vanish without trace. Observations confirm no conventional threat, yet loss is complete. One human vessel, singular, calm, and precise, demonstrated power beyond prediction. The message is clear: no ship returns from human space. I am alive to carry the truth. He paused. Outside, stars burned cold, distant. He leaned back, letting the weight of command press down. Survival had been achieved not through strength, but by comprehension. Humanity had spoken quietly, and he had listened. Relas allowed himself the smallest breath of relief. They would return to the Council, not as conquerors, but as messengers. Their tale would become legend, warning, and testament to the quiet power of a species the galaxy had long underestimated. And he understood the truth that would haunt him forever: fear of the unknown was real. But human resolve, patient, restrained, absolute, was far more formidable than any legend. The void behind them stretched silent and vast. The human ship remained unseen, unpursuing, a shadow burned into memory. Relas whispered to himself, almost reverently, "No ship returns." And for the first time, he believed it.